Optimist, and today we have the handsome Ty Chase.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Dude, thanks for coming in, man. It's been good to see you, dude. I feel like every couple of years we're around each other frequently.
Yeah.
And it's usually just most of the other times it's in passing, but it's been good to see you, man. It's been
Likewise. I appreciate you having me in.
Well, it's beautiful because like we've both been here for long enough now that everybody has gone through multiple phases and cycles as people, as players. We continue to evolve with time, and the thing that kind of stuck, yes, hopefully, that jumped out to me when we were recording out in the big room. It's just how good at what you do you've gotten. Like the thing that you do, there's always been something good and always been something special, but like hearing, because I've talked to Josh about this with you in the past too. We talk about how a lot of your songs, they're very detail oriented. Like you'll have a riff in the first verse, and then the second verse you add in 2 extra notes. There's like little embellishments in a lot of your writing. So when you're sitting down to write, is that something that you're consciously aware of? Like, I'm going to change the riff this time, or does it just come out naturally?
I think it depends on the song. For sure, I like to differentiate. Say if of course we repeat a verse, there's usually a second verse in a song. So usually I like to add something that's a little bit different. Like for instance, in the song Inhale, the second verse has a distinct new riff that's introduced in verse 2. So I like to ideally keep the listener guessing and surprise them with something that they wouldn't usually expect.
Yeah, well,
so sometimes it's deliberate, sometimes it's just natural.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, that was the thing that just kind of popped out to me at the session. You're playing with some great players. You're playing with
Praise God, bro. I love my boys, man. They're
our
great
good
friends.
friend Josh Norfleet, who is the '1 repeat guest on this podcast, and he's the #1
Shout
musical
out Josh, you the
repeat
man.
guest on the podcast.
You the man,
now.
Josh.
And then Sam Bellavance. Okay,
Yep.
Sam Bellavance, and then Colin Christensen.
Oh yeah. An incredible rhythm section.
Yeah,
those 2 guys. They've been playing together since they were, I want to say, young teenagers. They grew up in Indiana together, and they just been going at it. Like they were telling you, I think.
Yeah.
Was it Sam that said a music teacher told him in order to get better at bass, find a drummer and just play along with them as much as you can? Was that right?
Yeah, I believe so. And because we were talking, and I was like, the way that I got good at bass was by playing with one drummer consistently all through high school in several different bands. And that's when you kind of was talking about how they've been playing together forever. And you can tell they just lock in, dude.
Oh, yeah.
In a profound way.
Yeah, all the chemistry built up over the years of shedding together.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful to have them. Yeah, dude, especially in the Broadway trenches, man, because they play downtown pretty frequently together. So add that on top of the years of playing in like jazz bands together in high school and stuff like that. It's just such a beautiful thing to have guys on my team that I have observed as an audience member and be like, oh man, those guys are killers.
Yeah.
And then I become friends with them, and then I ask them to play in my band, and they're all about it, and they like the songs, and it's something I'm so grateful for, man, because that's something I've searched for a long time. Since moving here and starting my own thing in 2018, there's been a revolving lineup, you know, a lot of different players. That's what it usually
is, yeah.
Yeah, until I find the people who I really feel good about. And my friend Nick Amend, shout out Nick Amend, he's been using this litmus test in his band with Josh.
Yeah.
Uniter, shout out Uniter and Eric Torres. One of his litmus tests, because he wants to ultimately be shredding lead guitar, and he's an incredible guitar player as well as an incredible drummer, but they're looking for a drummer now, and his litmus test has been, you got to be better than me. Bare minimum, be better than me at the instrument, and the gig's yours. And so I felt the same way about finding the players for my group. Josh rips at guitar, Colin incredible at drums, Sam incredible at bass. And so I could sort of breathe easily knowing that those guys are going to hold down their parts and I don't have to think twice.
Yeah.
Because I've been in that situation before where I hire a buddy who also plays and the vibes are good. Like the hang is fun because we're already friends and that chemistry's built up. But then when it comes time to execute the songs, it's just not there. And then I'm like, I got to have this internal battle not to get resentful of my friend who I hired.
Why didn't you do the work?
Yeah, man. And so that was a challenge. But all that to say, I'm so grateful for the guys.
Well, I think that's a really great point what you brought up because you have to learn there's like a couple different things that we all do. It's sometimes you're a band leader. Sometimes you are the one leading the show, and then sometimes you're just a player. You know, you get hired, pickup gig, whatever.
Supportive role.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
all of them are good, but you have to put on a different hat. Because, like, I've always been, for most of my tenure in Nashville, a sideman. It wasn't until recently that I put something together and started working with players, and I have that revolving door now. You know, my drummer Evan is pretty consistently playing with me. He's really good, but
nice.
It's been a new thing that I've had to learn. It's hard not to just be like, yo, I gave you the songs. Why didn't you learn them? Why are we going over them right now? Which I understand.
Like right before a show or something.
Questions in a room, that's fine. It's like, hey, I haven't been able to nail this part. Can we go over it? Like now, because I've made this mistake in the past, if I'm having trouble with something or I don't know what something is, I let the person know in advance, like, hey, can we go over this at rehearsal because I'm having trouble at this part? Can you explain it to me? Mm-hmm. When I was 25, I didn't fucking know that. You know, I had no idea.
Sure. It takes time and failure, right?
It takes failure, dude. That's Dude, okay. The worst gig that I have personally ever played, worst performance I ever gave was with you, dude.
It
was with the Preservation Pub gig.
Dude, what do you remember about that gig?
Dude, so a couple different things. One, I got totally surprised because you had picked up a guitar that was tuned a half step down, and I didn't realize it.
Which is my fault because I didn't say it.
Yeah,
I didn't tell you.
I wasn't an experienced enough player to be able to roll with that yet. You know what I mean? Like, as a gigging musician, I didn't understand shit like that because that's more of like a Broadway thing where you have to think on the fly like that.
And a half step down.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So that was the biggest thing. It was during Under the Bridge by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And it's still deeply scarred me until today. It stays
Put some
with
scar
me,
cream
dude.
on that, bro. You know, soothe it over. It's in the past.
It is in the past, but it was a valuable learning experience. I just wasn't ready enough. I was scared. I was intimidated by the gig. It was my first real gig playing out of town. So I was up in my own head about that.
Sure.
We did have some songs that we sounded great on. Like we did a mashup of Come Together and Sunshine of Your Love. That was really badass.
Yeah,
and the crowd was into that. I think we might have did Don't Let Me Down too. Do you do that song sometimes?
I don't think I think I've only done Don't Let Me Down with Scott Chapman.
That's a Scotty song.
Shout out Scott. Garden of Eden, yeah.
But yeah, dude, it was a failure of epic proportions on my behalf. Valuable learning experience.
Because I didn't say, hey, brother, we're in half step. We're going to do it regular key. It's going to play the same on the neck, but we're in half step.
Yeah.
Without knowing that, I would be panicked. I would be like, I'm looking at the neck. You're playing an E. I'm playing an E. It doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
It sounds a half step off.
That's what it was. But it wasn't a terrible gig. What do you remember about that gig? We stopped at Chick-fil-A on the way there.
Yes, I remember that. I think I remembered Under the Bridge, and I don't remember a whole lot else other than that. And isn't that funny? You know, the whole gig is probably like a 3-hour show or something like that. And that's the one thing I remember. Maybe because, like you said, it's like a scarring thing. Like you remember, like, oh wow, we really don't want to sound like this, but we do. But outside of that, I remember it being a smooth sailing gig.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why nothing sticks out.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why. But that place is fun, man. I remember playing there with Auction the Secret. Shout out Nolan Brown and Nick Amend. I played Preservation Pub with them years prior to when we played there. And it's like the last smoking bar in Knoxville. So
it's a cool place.
It's a cool place.
I've played there a couple of times.
Like a shotgun style room. It's pretty long. There's an upstairs, like a balcony rooftop thing going on too. But yeah, it's a fun spot.
You know James Varner from Year of October?
I know Year of October. I've heard of them,
yeah. So James Varner, he sometimes jammed with Josh and I whenever we were working on Josh's project.
Mm-hmm.
But he told me a story about playing a gig there, and there was like a pipe that burst while they were on stage.
Did it burst above the stage?
Yeah, and he was having to like rush off and get all of his drums off the stage. Another Preservation Pub story, but yeah, Pres Pub is cool. Knoxville's a cool town, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's got his.
I love that
a vibe.
square. That square where Pres Pub is really fun.
Yeah,
I've never really ventured outside of there, other than to I think it was an IHOP or something like that. But you can find IHOP fucking anywhere.
Did we stop at Waffle House on the way back?
We very well may have.
Okay, so I don't know if this is with you or with
accuracy about that.
You would remember this particular moment. This might have been I was with James when this happened. We were playing with Dustin Sellers, but we stopped at a Waffle House, and there were some white supremacist bikers in there, dude. It was so.
I would remember that.
It was so scary.
Like
they had like the patches and shit, and one of the dudes just went up and poured like water on this guy's head, and then they walked out. It was like they walked in, had this verbal confrontation, and then walked out, dude. It was it was west of Knoxville. So it was like on the way back, but it wasn't quite to Cookeville yet. It was somewhere in between Knoxville and Cookeville.
Mm-hmm.
But that was an experience that I'll always fucking remember, just like looking over and being like, oh, fuck, do not make eye contact.
Pretend you're not here.
These guys would.
Pretend you're asleep.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, dude. I mean, there's a million things that can happen. Different factors, both playing on stage and out in the world when you're on gigs. It's the ultimate adventure.
That's the first word that came to my mind when you said that. It is such a fun adventure. What's your favorite part?
I think just being able to hang with buddies, man. You know, like hang with buddies and play music and not have a job. Like
that being a job is such a beautiful thing.
Well, it doesn't ever and you do have to put in work and make sure you're prepared and all this other bullshit.
Right.
But
like we were talking about at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But outside of that, when it's like, okay, well, the car's loaded, we're on our way, or we're meeting up at the venue, whatever it might be, it's just like there's so much of the musical experience. You're killing 20 hours a day to get to those anywhere between 1 and 4 hours of you being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's my favorite part.
Yeah, the adventure in between the gig itself, like on either side, before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it, especially when it's with friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure both of us have been in scenarios where it's a gig where it's not with our friends, but just rather it's like a pickup gig. You're like a hired gun or something.
Yeah.
And those are a bit of a crapshoot. You don't know what you're going to get.
You never know.
It's you're feeling out personalities for the first time right before you get on stage, you know.
There was a pickup gig that I played over in East at Home. You know Home in East Nashville?
Mm-hmm.
So they have like a back room, and this dude was throwing a 40th birthday party. But I found he had posted on Gig Salad he was looking for a bass player. This was pure pickup gig. Like, we were having a rehearsal in the back room a couple of hours before we go on stage. And that one, a gig like that, it was like a lot of players that hadn't played a gig in a while because they were older guys. Like, I was the youngest guy on stage, probably like 15, 20 years. There's nothing wrong with that. But it was an interesting experience because they have their normal set list that they do, so they were all used to it. But it's like the little things that bands do and play. It's like, oh, we play this version. Oh, we play that version. Mm-hmm. Trying to pick that up in the moment on the fly was very interesting. I had to learn Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen too, and there's that part where it's like bum 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 bum, like the descending line.
Right.
I nailed that in rehearsal, but we ended up cutting, and I was like, "Fuck!" I really wanted to do that song
because so good about that. Descending line.
I never get to play Bruce Springsteen. It's like rare.
Hardly ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
even
people want to do
New
it.
Jersey,
yeah.
Rarely ever play Bruce Springsteen.
But yeah, that was an interesting gig, and I ended up getting Danny from Eat Sleep Rock hired to do video work that night because it was a dude's like 50th birthday party.
Birthday, 50th.
Yeah, something like that. It was some birthday party and this dude had like he had like a normal business that he owned. He was like a construction guy, owned a construction company, very successful, lived down in Florida. He was actually from New Jersey as well. All the dudes were. And then everybody else was like a professional level to a certain degree and grew up playing in New York and all of that. So it was interesting playing with players from like a different place after being used to playing with Nashville guys. Sure. The standards were different, not necessarily better or worse, just different.
When you say standards, are you talking about the songs or like the ethics or whatever?
Yeah, well, all of the above, actually. Yeah, because like there was some things that, of course, you're going to play here in Nashville, but like we might have played a Meatloaf song or two. You never really fucking hear that down here. That's a very East Coast thing. Billy Joel's a very East Coast thing.
Sure.
Because it's not, I mean, there are some bands down on Broadway that have piano players, but you're typically not going to play those.
Shout out Max Beal, the man.
Play those songs unless you have a piano player.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, overall it was another good learning experience. Overall, the gig wasn't good. It wasn't good. Like there was, and it was nothing wrong with these guys.
What wasn't good about it?
It was just the fact that like one of the dudes told me, he's like, yeah, I haven't even like sat at the drums in like 2 or 3 months, because he's got a wife and kids. But he was like, honestly, he was the most locked in. He was a great drummer.
He was the most locked in.
Yeah, we were a good rhythm section that night, and that was my first time playing with someone who was playing an electric kit on stage. I'd never done that before. He had some super nice Roland kit. Mm-hmm. Another funny story for this gig. The dude told me that we were playing Mr. Brightside in D flat or some shit like that. So I start playing, and then I figure out it's the wrong key. Because this dude wasn't, like the guy who was singing, he wasn't necessarily like a musician. He could strum chords and he could sing. Mm-hmm. Not that he wasn't a musician, but you get what I'm saying. It's different.
He wasn't playing guitar or like playing.
He was playing a little bit of guitar, but you can tell that this wasn't like the other dudes were professionals. Not that this dude wasn't professional in the way that he acted, but there was just certain things like he told me the wrong key. Because I look over at the keyboard player, he's like, wrong key. And he's like, original record key. So I was like, oh, perfect. I knew how to play it in the original record key. So it was just little shit like that, being told the wrong info. Mm-hmm. And going against my intuition as a player. Those are the times that I always fuck up the most. When I go against my own intuition, where I'm like, that doesn't sound right to me, but I'm going to try it anyways, because that's what he told me to do. Like I played with this one dude, and we were doing Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney. Great fucking song, but he was telling me the wrong notes for this bass part. because I knew that the bass part didn't modulate. Because Paul, he writes a lot of songs that it's like, okay, it's a D chord with a G in the bass or some shit like that. And I'm like, that's what that is. It's I'm not supposed to play a D note there. And anytime he would turn around, I would play it right, and he wouldn't say anything. But if he saw me do it and I was on the different fret than what he told me to do, he's like, that's wrong.
But he stopped the song, and
he would motion to me. Like, yeah. And I'm like, that's wrong. I know that's wrong because the notes are clashing. There's dissonance there. It's incorrect.
Right. The ears don't lie.
The ears don't lie. But if he was turned around facing the audience, he wouldn't know any different. It sounded right then. So it's just a lot of little shit like that too. You have to deal with ego a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's our own, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, especially if it's our own.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important. Keeping ourselves close to the ground. I heard Anthony Kiedis say that to Joe Rogan. What is the root of the word humble or humility? It is close to the ground. And I was like, that's really interesting. And then when we're waiting to shoot the live stuff in there, I decided to, like, we were waiting around, getting stuff set up, decided, hey, maybe I'll take my shoes off, sit on the ground, lay down for a second. Really amazes me how much that can calm me down, center myself, and then before I knew it, Josh is sitting next to me, Sam's sitting next to me, and
everyone's just chilling, having a good time, waiting.
They all gravitated with me towards the floor. Maybe because it's like, nerves before the red light goes on or something like that, you know?
Yeah, I think it's natural a little bit to have those nerves.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's one of the other exciting things about it.
Yeah, it's a sign that we care, I think.
Absolutely.
That's how I see it anyway.
You guys sounded fucking great, man. It was really a pleasure to see you guys play, and of course, I've seen you play over the years, played with you, all that good stuff. But it was a really beautiful thing to see you playing with a locked-in group now.
Oh, it feels that way. And thanks, man. I really appreciate you having us in. And, man, I'm just very excited about having a crew that feels locked in, and that when people see us play, they say, man, it seems like these guys really are locked in, and that feels great. After going through, like we talked about a couple minutes ago, so many lineup changes, man. So many. But I'm finding that's just what it takes for my specific scenario. Like, I have these songs, I want to play them, and I want to play them live with people who I love and care about, and they're also absolutely killers on their instruments. And it takes time to find those people. And it's not going to happen in a year, 2 years, 3 years. Now I'm like many years into it, and I'm so glad I just continued after it. And
there's something to be said for continuing to push forward and not give up. Because there's been a million times, I know for myself, that I could have just thrown in the towel.
Same.
You get the opportunity to run away, scared, cry, but we're both still here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, bro.
I can think of so many times where I fell flat on my fucking face, and then
same.
You just got to keep pushing forward.
Builds character, you know.
Dude, that is,
and keeps us humble because we know what it's like to eat shit.
My dad, he has always said to me, whenever things like an unfortunate situation happened my entire growing up, he would just say, builds character, builds character, builds character.
Now I'm here like your father. Builds character, Taylor.
Well, I got to a point probably in my mid-20s where when something would happen, you get a flat tire or some bullshit would happen where you're just going about your daily life and you get fucked up by something.
Sure.
An inconvenience. Yeah. And not even a big inconvenience, but just an inconvenience.
Totally.
No one's dead, no one's sick, whatever.
Something you would rather not happen, but it's happening.
Yes, you have to deal with it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And I think there's something to be said for having that resilience. And at a certain point, I was just like, Bill's character. Once a guy
Now
flat
it's like-
tire, Bill's character.
Right.
It is what it
right.
is. I
What a
can't control
service-
this.
What a service your dad did for you,
Dude,
Taylor.
it was the greatest
way.
thing he did for me.
Totally.
Absolutely.
Imagine if, oh man, that brings to mind this this movie that I saw the other night called The Serial Killer's Apprentice.
Oh, shit.
Have you
Okay.
seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
And I'm watching that with my lovely lady. Shout out Taylor.
She's also named Taylor.
Yeah, she's also named Taylor. So I'm watching this movie, and I don't know about you, but when I was a little kid, there was that channel called ID,
Yeah.
where they
Like
would
the
have
True Crime Channel.
True Crime Channel. Before I had, God bless you,
Thank you.
any business watching these sorts of things, I would just be flipping through the channels as a little kid. I'll stumble across like a reenactment of some heinous crime, and I'll watch it, and I'll just be like glued in, like, oh my gosh, what is this? And it's this, like one of those types of movies. And whenever I'm watching those, I'm thinking to myself the whole time, like, what is the root cause of these things? Why do these things happen? These heinous crimes, why do these people go off the edge? And after watching that movie, and I've seen a couple movies where I come to a similar conclusion like this, The Apprentice of the Serial Killer and the serial killer himself, abusive parents.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it's,
And
well, you know,
the parents, man, it's
the environment that you come up in, it really shapes the way that you interact with the rest of the world, for better or worse.
oh yeah. And thank God your dad
Yeah. I mean,
imprinted Bill's character
yes.
on your soul, because I mean, think about how much more resilient you are just because that's the first thing that comes to mind
Yeah.
when something
Well, it
unfortunate
was
happens.
training, you know. I would get so mad when I was a kid, and you would say when I was like 15.
Same. Dude.
And I'd
I
be
had
like,
such a short
no,
fuse as a
fuck
15-year-old.
that. I hate this. But it's like once you're,
Yeah, bro.
we only have a finite amount of energy and things to think about and things
And
to
time,
care
yeah.
about.
Yeah.
Do we want to spend it in a bad mood all the time, worrying, feeling down, feeling depressed, feeling anxiety? And it's you have to work your mind like a muscle. I think positivity is a muscle. I think it's one of the
I
reasons
agree.
that I've always been drawn to you is you're a positive guy.
Praise God, bro.
You have a very positive outlook on life and on people that is untouched in a lot of ways. I think it is a really beautiful
T.
thing.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, of course, man.
I think you're totally right that it's a muscle that requires flexing and exercising every day. Like I think about all of the times where it felt so what is the word? Contrived. Like contrived optimism. Like I'm in like the pits of suffering in, various scenarios where I've just been, suffering for whatever reason, whether it be medical things, relational things, and man, by the grace of the Lord guiding me to, just trust. Say like, I'm supposed to be here. I'm grateful for the suffering in this moment, even though it sucks. And I know life is going to go on, and this is going to pass as well. And I'm going to be...
This too shall pass.
This too shall pass, exactly. And I'll be grateful that I decided to keep my faith in the time of suffering, because if I abandon it, that's the alternative option, right? Like keep it or abandon it. And if I abandon it, is that going to be better or worse? Probably worse.
Yeah.
I can make it worse for myself by abandoning it. So anyway, I appreciate that, bro.
Our minds shape reality, our realities.
Mm-hmm. I've heard perspective or perception is reality. Yeah.
Perception is reality. You
Right.
know, I think
Right.
there's a lot of people in the world that we are all just to some of our experiences in the environments that we grew up in, things that happened to us. And some folks, they have it rough, you know. They have they're born into a situation that just isn't good.
Sure.
But you can either choose to let that make you like a bitter, resentful person, or you can choose to have a positive outlook, kind of what we were talking about. Do you know who Diamond Dallas Page is? Professional wrestler?
No.
You would fucking love him.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Yeah. You guys got the same energy. But he has...
That's a professional wrestler.
Well...
I'll take it, bro. I'll take it.
He has this wrestling program called DDPY, which is it's Diamond Dallas Page Yoga. And
yoga.
Yeah, it's
he's
yoga.
A yogi.
Yeah.
A yogi and a professional wrestler.
Yes, you would dig it, dude. You would dig it. But it's basically yoga for dudes, firstly. And secondly, he when you're really struggling doing these poses, holding poses, he'll hit you with positivity that makes you so mad in the moment, where it's like you're struggling, your arms are out, your legs are everywhere, and he's like, pull all that positive energy into your life. So, dude, you have to check out. He went on Joe Rogan probably like 5 or 6 years ago. That's how I heard about him. You should check him out. You should listen to that Joe Rogan because he talks about his career too and becoming a professional wrestler.
WWE.
I think he was in both WWE and WWF. But he got his start as like a manager character. He was 30 years old when he first started getting into professional wrestling. He had already had an entire life and career before that where he was running bars and clubs. Not all that unsimilar to the world that we're in, you know, where it's like you're a creature of the night.
Yeah.
But he talked about how it just hit him one day, and he has all of these different sayings. One of them is, don't think it, ink it, write it down. And he talks just like that, dude. I'm telling you.
Down. Don't think it, ink it, write it down.
Look him up, dude. I will send you the episode he did with Joe Rogan. You will be infinitely inspired by this guy. You have similar energy to him.
Diamond Dallas Page.
Diamond Dallas Page, DDP.
Man, I remember playing wrestling games on Nintendo 64. That's what makes me thinking about them good old days. I don't even think of them that way, but I mean, you know what I mean when I say the good old days. So I think the future is bright when we think of it as such, like we were saying, perspective is reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was curious about this right here.
The logo?
Is this a Velociraptor?
Yeah, it's a Velociraptor.
With a fanny pack.
With a fanny pack.
Roller skates in outer space.
Yeah.
How did you land on this majestic piece of art right here?
Okay, so my friend Sarah House, she's a super talented tattoo artist. She designed the Velociraptor.
Beautiful.
So she posted it probably to her Instagram like 5 or 6 years ago. And when I saw that, I was like, that's my bat symbol. That's what I've been looking for.
Your bat symbol.
Yeah. It's my calling card, dude. So I asked her, I'm like, hey, can I use that for the podcast? And she said yes. And I mean, I just took that, made a background on ChatGPT where I was like, make it psychedelic and spacey.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just put that on there. So when I saw it for the first time, my first impulse was to laugh. So I was like, it gave me a visceral reaction. That's what I'm really drawn to, is things that make me react in a visceral way. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with like even the name the Poptimist is like I had a visceral reaction when I thought of that.
What does it mean to you, the Poptimist?
It just sounds cool, dude. Like straight up, there's nothing deeper to that than I think it sounds cool.
Because it's got optimist and it's also got pop. So I was wondering, like, pop music, pop culture, optimism. I don't know.
It's in the eye of
looking into it.
the beholder. Like, I just thought it sounded good. I was like, everybody can easily identify what the word is if they read it. And same thing with my band. My band's name is Canada Duck Feet.
Canada Duck Feet.
Canada Duck Feet, yeah. So that was, I had a dream about those words. And when I woke up, I was like, that's an album name. That's perfect. And eventually, you know, it wasn't until like really the past 6 or 7 months that I was like, why don't I just call my band Canada Duck Feet? Like, because it's kind of like a one part jam, one part soul, one part jazz, one part surf. And I'm like, I want something that like Canada Duck Feet represents what that is. It's just silly, you know? And I don't know what that means, but I had a dream about it. And I'm someone like when I dream something, like have an actual dream about something, I try and bring it into reality, whatever it is.
That's inspiring, man. I like
that. Yeah. Well, I think it's our higher self speaking to us, whatever that dream world is. Because I feel like in all of my dreams, I'm untouched by the worries and stresses of normal reality in day-to-day life. But normal reality in day-to-day life, our problems have a way in my dreams at least, of playing out. It's like you're working through something, you know? Like I had a dream probably 9 or 10 months ago where I went into a salon. It was raining outside, and I went into this salon.
This is a beautiful scene.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I went in, and they took me to this back room. They took me behind the counter. The first room, there was an alien in there. Like
what did it look like with this alien?
Just a classic gray, big eye alien. And it was just chilling there. I think it was passed out or something like that. It was not moving. And then I walk into another room, and Gerard Way and Mikey Way are on life support for My Chemical Romance, New Jersey's own.
They're on life support.
Well, it wasn't life support. They were like hibernation pods. And Mikey Way was face down. Mikey Way's a bass player. So I think there was some significance there because I really wasn't doing a lot musically. And then
Are they one of your favorite bands? My
They
Chemical
were
Romance?
when I was a kid.
Sure.
Like, you know, I feel like musically over time, there's like you go through phases.
We discover more.
There's just some stuff that you naturally like grow out of or move away from. Not that it's
Our taste
bad.
develops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was, but then I walk into this other room and I see one of my old coworkers, and he's there, and he's the one who's on the most life support, and I the most hibernation. I don't know what it was exactly.
He had the biggest machine attached to him.
Yeah,
or something.
It was something along those lines, and I just after that I went down. They took me down to the basement, and then there were like these portals. There were 2 separate portals. I can't remember what was in the other one.
That without the Velociraptor?
It was that kind of vibe.
Sure.
It was that kind of vibe. But the one that I went in was kind of like a lava world vibe.
A lava world?
Yeah, and I had to fight this guy that was there.
Was it just a guy? Was it like a villain of sorts?
I can't remember. It was someone famous, but I can't remember who it was.
A famous villain?
It was someone famous, yeah. And I don't even know if there's someone that's a villain in like real life or real world or anything like that.
I'm sure I could think of a few.
Yeah. But when I woke up, that was when I was like, I got to start freewheeling again.
What do you mean by freewheeling?
Where you don't have a job. You're just kind of figuring it out, shooting from the hip. And
Bob Dylan going to New York City. In like 1966 or 5 or whatever it was.
So that was kind of like the beginning of me being like, I need to start working on the podcast more. And I've had all of these kind of worries, anxieties, and stresses lately because I'm back out in the wild again, doing my own thing every day, and I don't want to go back to the way that my life was in my 20s. Like I just have zero fucking interest in that.
What were the 20s like for you? Because you say you don't want to go back there.
Disorganized and chaotic. Because you just don't know how to tighten things up yet. And it's not even due to a lack of discipline. It was just my brain couldn't fathom what it is that I needed to do every day. Because when you have a million things to do, what do you work on first?
Yeah, I struggle with that sometimes.
It's hard, dude.
What to prioritize. Of all of the list of things that I know could get me closer to that direction that I want to go, what's the most important thing?
Well, and the truth of the matter is, you just have to do it wrong enough times.
Right.
To figure out what the right way is.
Exactly. The failure forward.
Well, it's not even a matter of wrong or right. It's a matter of what is actually working. That's the other thing that I've discovered. There is a wrong way to do things, though, for sure. But
we have to find that out, though.
We have to find that out. And you have to skin your knee enough times to know what that is. So, long-winded answer, really, there are no answers. And I just have to learn how to deal with things gracefully as they come up, rather.
Totally.
But that's an art form in itself, because it's so easy to get bogged down and be like, I gotta pay this, I gotta do that, I gotta go get ready for this, I have a podcast at noon, all of those little internal voices that are in our head daily. But the thing that disappears, like the past couple of nights, we filmed the music segments for the Halloween special recently, so I'm doing another one this year.
Let's go.
And for the first time, like, I acknowledge the fact, okay, I don't want to spend a couple $100 on having this mixed. I'm going to mix it myself and see what happens. And I'm really happy with the way that the mix has turned out so far. Like, they still have to be massaged and shit, but it's like combination of me listening on my headphones, listening on the computer speakers, going out in my car, listening out there, and then between the three of those, figuring out what the right delicate balance is.
Have you tried the phone mix? That as well?
Yeah.
That's the hardest one, I feel like. I was talking about that with Colin and Sam and Josh, because I got some mixes back for the upcoming EP. And we were talking about the phone mixes and how those are the hardest to mix for, because that's like the newest form of listening. And how many times
it's the dominant form of listening.
Yeah. When someone shows you a new song, what's the first thing you go to? If you're not by your computer, it's usually your phone.
Yeah.
And you want to make a good impression through the phone. But then it could be a little bit different from the car speakers or the studio speakers. So that'll be fun mixing it for the phone too, I imagine.
Yeah. It's been a learning process. Talk to me about the performances that we did here. Remind me what songs we did.
We did Craven. We did Hawk of the Highway. We did Magnolia. We did Can I Stay With You. I think we did 5. We did one other one. Summertime.
And The User?
And The User, yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Which is a Ty Chase classic. You've been playing that one for years.
Yeah, man. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, shout out to Nick and Nolan, Nick Amend and Nolan Brown, because those are 2 songs that we did back when we were in a band together called Auction the Secret. And Nick helped me write Can I Stay With You as well. And, yeah, those are some good times.
Dude, I really liked Can I Stay With You. And I said this to Taylor when we were back in the room. I was like, this one kind of reminds me of Green Day.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Love Green Day, man.
Yeah.
Across the bar and came up with the plan. This spoon that she couldn't tell, didn't know what to say. When she asked, are you leaving? Do you need a place to stay? I said, can I stay with you? She said, can I stay with you? We don't get a second chance at this one night. Dawn bed to the ball. We got up and we got down. We hoped it would never end. The spoon left us, she could. tell, I didn't know what to say. When she asked when I come to your town and I need a place to stay, she said, "Can I stay with you?" She said, "Can I stay with you?" We don't get a second chance at this one night romance. Can I stay with you? Can I stay with you? Can I stay with you? So can I stay with you? So can I stay with you? We don't get a second chance at this one night romance. Can I stay with you? 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 Oh yeah, baby.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, that one's always so fun. It's like a shot of adrenaline because it's probably the fastest song that we play, and it's just, you know, when you're playing a song and you're holding on for dear life because it's going so fast, and you're always trying to think ahead, like what's coming next, and those are some of the most fun types of songs for me to play because it forces me to not be in my head because I got to be constantly
Present.
thinking ahead. Yeah, what's happening right now, along with what's coming next. Do you feel the same way about when you're performing songs?
It depends on the kind of song and what kind of gig it is. So Broadway is a different mindset than playing at the 5 spot. You
Totally.
know? So like when you're playing, because I've played a handful of gigs downtown mainly with Josh.
At the Big Machine.
At the Big Machine, and yeah,
La Machina Grande.
Yeah, we've played
which
together
no longer
there.
does music. They don't do live music anymore.
He told me about that. Well, I drove by there probably about a month ago on a Tuesday afternoon, and there was nobody on stage. They had just like bullshit chairs on stage stacked up there, and I was like, oh shit, I guess they're not doing music anymore there.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah.
I mean, a tiny stage.
Bad sound. Awful sound.
Man, I'm so grateful for them giving us a weekly slot for probably the better part of 2 years or something like that. We would play Friday nights, and it would be a crapshoot. I mean, whether it would be a great night
Whether
or
it was
not.
popping or not.
Yeah. What do you think are some of the like the overlapping, I guess, themes or things that you would want to take from playing Broadway style shows to all original style shows? Because, like you said,
It's
context
two
is
different.
very different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the performance factor is always there. You want to give a good show, whether you're playing covers or your own music. I think Broadway teaches you more how to be a performer versus just a musician. Because there's a difference in that too. You know, you can be a great musician, but not a very good performer. And I feel like I'm that way sometimes, like depending on context, where it's like you're really trying to nail a part, holding your breath, like, okay, I gotta get the intro for fucking Sweet Emotion, Aerosmith,
Sure.
signature bass lick.
Right.
Like,
right.
and it's you start like bass starts
You
that
start
song
it,
off.
Right.
So
right.
you got to make sure that you nail it right away. But it's just shit like that where it's like you have a little bit, I feel like, more leeway on original shows.
Because the audience doesn't really know. Is it a creative choice that they're
Exactly.
doing that instead?
Yeah. And I think too with more original gigs, again, depending on the context, but like for my own stuff, a lot of the time when we play something, we have a form, but every single time we play it kind of different. Because I want the project to be a musical exercise. Like I want people to actually be able to enjoy being musicians and being expressive on their instrument.
Mm-hmm.
It might not always be that way when you're playing down on Broadway. You know, like sometimes you're clocking in, basically.
Mm-hmm.
You're punching in, you're playing Enter Sandman, which is fun to play, don't get me wrong, or Sweet Home Alabama, or any of the ones that you play 10,000 times a night.
Yeah. Sweet Home Alabama, the secret weapon of Broadway.
Yeah, for sure. Pink Pony Club, that too. But like
the new secret weapon is Pink Pony Club.
Yeah, but whenever you're playing and it's like the room pops off. Well, the one thing I've learned from playing with Josh, it's like see who the audience is. Like if it's a bunch of millennials in their late 20s, early 30s, or through their 30s, they're gonna want to hear all the small things. They're gonna want to hear "Sugar We're Going Down."
Mr. Brightside.
Mr. Brightside, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's the anthem of white people.
That's such a banger, man.
Yeah.
The Brightside.
Yeah, but it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I would say just understanding audience and context is a huge part of it.
Definitely. Something that I've pulled from the Broadway thing to original shows and realizing that it serves both is always having the most fun I can possibly have. Because, and I'm starting to realize that applies to almost everything. I mean, unless I enlist in the military or something like that, there is no room for that there. But at least I would think. But if we're having fun on stage, we're laughing, we're having a good time, then that translates to the audience, ideally. And that can be a little bit harder, I guess, for me sometimes to, at least where I'm at now, I'm getting better at it, but relaxing into original shows and relaxing into the songs and having a great time with them. And I think that probably comes with just plenty of rehearsal time, so you know the songs are locked in. Then you can have some fun when it comes time to play the show. But if you're going in cold with the guys and they're playing the songs for maybe like the fourth or fifth time or whatever it is, then it's a little tighter. You know, your muscles are a little more stiff because you don't have as many reps under your belt of the songs. But
Well, it's like, remember that part after the second verse that we fucked up in the one rehearsal that we had.
and then, you know, all of a sudden you're in your head about it, like, oh, here it comes. Am I going to play it right? But if there's plenty of rehearsals ahead of time, you've already got it locked in. It's similar to like acting. I love film acting, and it's similar to that in that if I run those lines in my room by myself or with a partner tons of times, then I'm not going to have to think about the lines when it comes time to shoot. Same sort of deal.
Well, dude, you know what? This is random, but it connects. So a couple of years ago, I scored a short film for the 48-hour film festival, and I go to the premiere at the Bell Court. One of the movies you were in, dude.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, oh shit, I know that guy. It was a movie about a plant growing. Like this.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh. So here's a little tidbit about what happened with that. So I was hit up by these two brothers, the two filmmakers. The Frost brothers, I want to say, is their name. And for the deal with the 48-hour film festival, you got to create this movie. You're given a concept. You got to write it and produce it within 48 hours. So they call me in for the first night. It's like 2 a.m. and they wrote like a monologue for me to write or to perform. And I guess it's just part of the nature of filmmaking. It's a director's medium. You know, you're there to serve their vision, and that's it.
Yep.
So it's 2 a.m. I'm beat tired, and we do this whole monologue a couple times. Feels great, and then I come to see the final cut of it, and my face is like blurred out. I'm like in the out of focus or whatever. It's sort of like blurred out. You can't even hear the dialogue, and so that was a great lesson for me. Like, okay, I'm just there to serve, and if I'm not in the final cut, then that's it. And it comes back to the optimism thing too, because I could easily get jaded or get frustrated or be like, man, forget those filmmakers or whatever.
Yeah.
But really, I'm thankfully just grateful for the opportunity to exercise the craft, get a little bit better at it, and on to the next thing. And I think that's one of the trappings of being a creative person, is if I'm not consistently moving on to the next thing, prioritizing, like we were talking about, what the next thing I could do to get me closer to where I want to go, then it's so easy to become like still water versus flowing water. You know, like Bruce Lee says, still water. What do they say about still water? If you're in the wild and you're by yourself, don't drink that still water, man, because you're going to be like hunched over, like vomiting or something. But if you're constantly moving on to the next thing, there's no time to get bogged down in your own head about things.
Yeah, well, water can take the shape of any container that you put it in.
Right.
Yeah, it's definitely an exercise to be a part of a project where you're not the main piece. And that's what I've always been used to in Nashville. I've used to just be, hey, I'm getting called in, I'm a ringer. It's like they have me for this gig or for this X amount of time to try and get something done. And it's like you learn that way too how different people can lead a project, no matter what kind of creative project it is. And the thing that I've learned is you just got to be like water. It's like some band leaders are going to be very particular about the way that they want you to play. And then other bands, they're not really going to care. They just want you to play the right chords. Play the right chords, get the feel down, you're good.
Play those root notes.
Exactly. When in doubt, hang on the one.
Unless you're playing Silly Love Songs by Paul McCartney.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's can be an exercise in futility, but that's when it comes where you're like, okay, this person's really egotistical. I'm going to do this gig well the way that they want it and just never do this again. And that's okay, an okay thought to have.
Of course.
You don't have to communicate that, you know?
Of course, yeah.
But there's been plenty of times where it's like someone wants something done a particular way, and although it's not your vision, if they're there and they hired you and you're accepting money, do it their way. Just eat shit and shut up and do it their way, unless they're telling you to play the wrong notes. And you know better.
In which case, they don't even know what they want.
Yeah.
Because they're asking for the wrong thing.
Yeah.
But that's another lesson that I'm doing work to take from Broadway to the original shows is I guess it's sort of in line with the other thing I mentioned, but being just as relaxed as I possibly can be, and also being very clear about what I'm looking for. And sometimes that could take some prep work ahead of the gig, because how many times have you been down on Broadway and you see a stiff band leader who, you know, he's constantly looking to whoever it is, the guitar player, bass player, drummer, be like, if you're in the audience and you see that and you're getting a little stiff too, you're like, oh, they're not having fun.
They start bombing notes and it becomes stressful. And
right. And then before you know it, you're out of the bar.
Yeah.
You're not
the bar's
there
empty.
anymore.
No one's tipping.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No one's going to be tipping on that. But yeah, there's so many things that I've learned from playing the Broadway shows. That's, yeah, it's sort of like a day job in some regards. But it's also so fun because you're making music with your friends and it's music you love to play. And that's, I think, one of the traps of playing down there. There's a pressure I experienced in the beginning of doing those types of shows to have a bunch of these standard songs, country songs, of course, that I never grew up listening to. I don't listen to them in my free time.
Yeah. You're
And
an East
so-
Coast boy.
Yeah, man. Am I going to go down and play a bunch of songs that don't excite me? Because that's going to come through in the performance if I'm not having fun playing these songs, if I don't feel strongly about Wagon Wheel or like nothing against those songs. Of course, they're beautifully written, all that. There's a reason why there's such a broad audience for them.
But it's not your flavor.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that that's so important to me is that I'm playing songs that, like you were talking about, having a visceral response in me when I hear them.
Yeah.
And that that also brings up the idea of, you know, playing at clubs where they don't allow total freedom for the band to play how they want to play. Like, say, Big Machine, smaller room, smaller stage. They don't want the drummer smashing those cymbals. But if you're playing Everlong or if you're playing My Hero by the Foo Fighters, how are you supposed to play that song and have it translate when you're holding back?
Yeah.
They're not songs that are meant to be played that way. So then that takes some adapting to and, you know, creativity and rearranging the song or playing it a little differently so it still translates.
Most of the time, the drummers just say, fuck it, though. They
Yeah,
they
yeah.
play it how it's supposed to be played.
And I'm sort of glad. And I'm glad that the drummers that I have played with usually don't care, but also that can put the gig at risk sometimes too.
Oh, yeah.
Because then the booker's out there being like, man, I told him to quiet down, go easier on those cymbals, and he's smashing away. But you know,
Fuck it, dude. It's rock and roll.
that's right, man. I think that way. While also trying to be considerate, but at the same time, people want a show, man. And if you're playing rock and roll music and you're holding back, it's not going to translate as well as if you're in the spirit of the genre. And the spirit of the genre to me is just expressing yourself as honestly as you can.
Well, the audience lets you know, too. I feel like that's the other thing. If you are playing too loud, you will see it out in the audience because people will be putting their exactly, dude. I've seen it when I've been on stage at Big Machine,
Same,
where
dude,
they'll
same.
cover their ears and it's like, okay, let's do I don't know, fucking what's that CCR song? Have you ever seen the rain? Let's do
Great
Have you ever
song.
seen the rain next?
Yeah.
We're gonna bring the energy down a little bit and relax a little bit for these next couple of songs, but again, that's something that you only learn through the act of doing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to intuitively know everything when it comes to playing music and performance. And I think Broadway is such an interesting place because as a musician, you really get to learn those things because it's such a concentrated microcosm. Because most of the people, a lot of the people that go down to Broadway, that might be the only live music that they see all year. And that's the other crazy thing to think about because it's like we're spoiled by it because we're here in Nashville any night of the week. We could go out and go see a band. The music starts at 10 a.m. down on Broadway, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Even on Christmas, dude, you could go out and see music if you wanted.
Who's going out on Christmas?
There are people that do. People,
I believe it.
well, it adds my experience as an Uber driver.
If they're not celebrating or something.
Yeah, well, they might be in town with their family, and they want to get away from their family for a little while. So they go out
That
and they
could
go
be it.
drinking down on Broadway to get away from their weird uncle or their aunt that has a bunch of cat sweaters or some bullshit like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's there's nothing really else like it. I think I would love to have as many musical experiences as I can. The other thing in the back of my mind that I'm always curious about is like, what is it like to play on a cruise ship? What is it like to live on a cruise ship for 3 months and be a musician? And it might be miserable and it might be something that I would hate, but it would still be an experience nonetheless.
that you would probably learn a lot from.
Exactly.
Have you had any offers to go play a cruise ship?
No, nothing direct. But it's like every couple of years I look at it and I'm like, maybe I'll do this.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it could be fun.
Maybe this could be something that I can enjoy doing. Okay, let's get back to talking about your songs. So you did Can I Stay With You, Hawk of the Highway, The User, and you didn't do Inhale, right?
No.
But yeah, talk to me about each of those individual songs. Basically what I'm going to do, just to give you context. In post, I'm going to edit it up. We're going to include 2 songs into it. So if you want to give like a little intro to each one of the songs talking about them, I'll drop it at a certain point in the conversation. It'll seem natural, and then play the song on the show.
Cool. So Can I Stay With You? We could talk about that since that one stood out to you. Man, so that one was sort of a me talking about my experience of going through a period of life where looking for love, but looking in the wrong places, looking through the adventure of one-night stands, which is...
Young man's folly, dude.
Young man's folly indeed, bro, because it seems like a good idea at the time. It's alluring, it's mysterious, and then...
Nothing but chaos.
Yeah, it's over. You're leaving. You never talk to the person again. They never talk to you again. And there's that empty feeling afterwards of like, well, that was cool, I guess. And it led me to realize that I desire a long-term relationship, like stability, having someone that I could depend on, who I know isn't going to go running around scantily clad, talking to random dudes. So yeah, that song came about from going and playing at Tin Roof Birmingham with Nick and Nolan and Auction the Secret. And we were looking for a place to stay that night so that we wouldn't have to drive home because it was late at night by the time we finished. And these 2 ladies who had the same name, I invited us to crash with them, and we did that. We went home, and then the next day or so, Nick and I had this idea for the song. Nick and I sat down and wrote it together, and it's one of my favorite things about this, sort of a sidebar, but one of my favorite things about having original songs is the freedom to change them up. Like you'll hear with that song and The User, if you listen to the studio recording of The User, it's different from the version we played in here because it's more fun to me to, if I have an idea for how I could change up the song, or maybe the melody's going to sit more interesting over this guitar part versus that guitar part. So you'll notice listening back to The User that the verse guitar part and the chorus guitar part are swapped, and that's just so fun to me. It keeps them fresh, keeps them interesting. But Can I Stay With You, back to that's another one that changed up, added new licks into it with the same general chord structure, but not to get bogged down with the details of it. But Can I Stay With You, it's probably like 7 years old now.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's an old song in the grand scheme since like the start of the band in 2018 till now at least. But yeah, I love playing that song, and I hope everybody enjoys it too.
Absolutely, dude. Okay, let's talk about The User, because that's another older song.
Yep. Another one from the Auction the Secret era that I've continued to carry with me just because I love playing it. It's so fun. It's funky.
Cool riff.
Thanks, man. I just love the Chili Peppers so much. And
it's got that vibe for sure.
Oh, great. Yeah, and that was another song that came about from failed relationship experiences, having a sort of loose relationship with a person and
situationship.
You get calls at late at night whenever they're free, and then full disclosure, I reach out to them, you don't hear back, and then all of a sudden it's 4 a.m. and you get a call. It's like, what are we really doing here?
Yeah.
And that's where the idea of The User came about. We all want to feel loved and appreciated and valued. And if we don't have someone or people in our life that show up for us in that way, then we're going to find a way to fill that void, whether it's healthy or not. And that's, I'm glad that I went through that experience nonetheless, even though it was painful in some regards and pleasurable in other regards. A great song came out of it, so I'm grateful for that.
Hawk of the Highway.
Hawk of the Highway, man. I was watching The Doors, directed by Oliver Stone.
Great movie.
I love that movie. Val Kilmer.
Kills it.
Yeah, man.
R.I.P.
Long live Val Kilmer, man.
Batman.
I was sitting in the place I was living in East Nashville watching that movie by myself, just picking my guitar, and that main guitar part came to me while I was watching that movie, and inspired by the whimsical, poetic approach that Morrison would take towards a lot of these songs, and incorporating different experiences, world events that are going on, and incorporating nature, having nature be the main sort of theme.
Well, that movie starts out with them in the desert, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and they're singing.
Jim Morrison wandering the desert.
He's singing "My Wild Love," and they're all like tripping in the fucking desert. It's a great movie. If you
I love that movie.
Watch the movie.
So that movie springboarded me into that riff, and then the lyrics came about. That's another fairly old one. I wrote that one in, I think it was 2019 or something like that. And Morrison inspired the lyrical approach, and thinking about the everlasting nature of nature, you could say. The hawk. Whenever you're driving down the highway, you see the hawk flying over, and it's sort of a meditation, I guess, thinking about what it's like to just be a wanderer.
The hawk doesn't know about Microsoft Excel.
No, he doesn't. And no, she doesn't. They don't care. They don't care about Microsoft. There's more important things.
And then, so what were the other ones again?
There was Magnolia as well. That one is sort of the rapping, sort of diving into.
That's the heavy one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that one because I'm trying out a different approach to vocals, which is really fun because I love, like I said, the Chili Peppers, Beastie Boys, Rage Against the Machine. I just love the way that music makes me feel. It taps into my 15-year-old self who would get really angry whenever I would mess something up really fast. Like, I remember when I was young, I played soccer a lot. And I would play forward. That was the position I had. And whenever there would be a number of times where I would have like an open goal and I would shoot and miss, and I would get furious, dude. I'd be like so mad, punching the ground. And the feeling that I get when I listen to Rage Against the Machine is similar to that. But then again, it's more of a healthy expression of that sort of feeling.
Sure.
And when it came to Magnolia, I was thinking about like the things in the modern world that make me feel that way. And the more I dive into history and what is going on in the world today that seems unjust, that seemed to be a perfect vein to tap into. That's in line with the aggressive nature, I guess you could say, of that song. And it felt good to dive into a sort of the rapping approach to the vocals too, because I love Zach De La Rocha's approach, the Beastie Boys, and like I was saying,
fuck yeah.
And Queens of the Stone Age, of course. I definitely pull a lot from them when it came to those guitar parts.
Queens of the Stone Age. That's what I'm wearing right now.
I didn't even notice that, dude. I love that band, man.
Dude, did you see them when they played at Ascend a couple of years ago?
I saw them, I think, 2 years ago at Ascend.
Yeah, I was there.
So badass, man.
In my opinion, best rock show I've ever seen. Queens of the Stone Age. They were. Well, the thing that I like about them is they played maybe for like an hour and a half. And they have such a big catalog that you're not going to hear every song that you love. and their set list changes. I love it when a band, it's like one night they'll be in Oklahoma City, the next night they'll be in Dallas, and the night after that they'll be, I don't know, Nashville, whatever. All 3 shows, different set lists. They might start like they started that tour, that leg of the tour off with No One Knows. That was their opening song. And it's like dropping their dick on the table. It's like their biggest hit. And they're like, this
so
is
good.
Yeah.
Such a great song.
But I just appreciated that. I appreciate the fact that they're, 25 years into being a band, maybe even 30 years into being a band. They are like their last record that they released in support of that tour, in Times New Roman, so fucking good from start to finish. I appreciate the fact, like, because I love Queens of the Stone Age, but I really got, like, from Era Vulgaris on. Like, I like the other stuff okay, but once they kind of had this lineup that they have now in place, I feel like that is the magic for them. Playing with the dude that, Dean Fertitta, that plays keys and guitar, Troy Van Leeuwen or whatever his name is, he also plays guitar. Mikey Shoes on bass, he's a great fucking bass player. Very unique sound as a bass player. And then the drummer has changed a couple of times in
Dave
the lineup.
Grohl being on drums for that.
Dave Grohl was
That one album, so good.
Yeah, so, but yeah, they're one of my all-time fucking favorites, Queens of the Stone Age. I love them.
Same.
I will, anytime that, even if they're like playing down like in Atlanta or something like that, or up in Kentucky, if I know about it, I will spend the money to go see them now. Like, I was already a lifelong fan. It was my first time seeing them. But I will see them as many times as I can. They're fucking phenomenal.
Same. And they were a band that I didn't come into knowing about until probably beyond college. Like, I didn't grow up listening to them outside of 3s and 7s on Guitar Hero.
Yeah,
and
great song.
I love that song. That was probably my introduction to them, honestly. But once I discovered them, like, so intricate, the guitar work on that, the vocals, so unique, so singular of a band.
Well, he has a voice like David Bowie or Elvis, that kind of range where he can go super low and growly, or he could go way up high and hit those beautiful high notes.
Yeah, Josh Homme's one of the best, man.
He's a great guitar player too.
One of the best we got.
Yeah, an unusual 3 guitar players in the band.
3-headed dragon.
Yeah,
as they say.
Okay, and what was the other song?
Summertime.
Summertime
was another one. And that one came about when I was collaborating with my friend Ben Peverall. Shout out Ben Peverall. We were sitting in his studio. He had a beautiful, like, seafoam green Telecaster with a rosewood fretboard. And I was like, oh, this is nice right here. And we plugged it in, and one of the first riffs came to me just having fun, feeling it out. And it started out with the name Bonzo on the Ivories. That was the initial name because Ben Peverall is also a great drummer, but he sings and plays guitar usually. And he was just tapping out a drum groove on his keyboard, and it sounded great.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it just went from there to me collaborating with my great friend Scott Harris at Lotus Landing Studios as well. A great studio, great guy, who him and I have been chopping songs together in his studio for probably 2 or 3 years. The making of this EP was primarily done there. Him and I just getting together and working these songs out. A lot of it wasn't like a live tracking sort of scenario.
Overdubs?
A lot of overdubs, yeah, which was a great exercise. You know, we were talking about not knowing what the best way is, but we got to just, like, experiment and find our way through it. And I'm so grateful to Scott because he, great engineer, great drummer, helped me to track all of these songs and get them nice and tight. But anyway, with Summertime, it was just a matter of him and I chopping out this song and then me going out on my own and figuring out how I'm going to layer some vocals on top of this, because oftentimes it'll be a whole instrumental track and I'll have no idea what the lyrical content's going to be, and I'll just have to go out and, you know, find something meaningful.
Follow the melody.
Yeah, find what's going to sing nicely on top of it. And around that same time is when I entered into the relationship I'm in now. And the feeling of that and not knowing if it's going to last, but just knowing how I feel when I'm in the company of this person, my lovely partner. And, it feels like summertime. And not like a brutal Nashville summertime where it's like 99 degrees
a 60
and humid.
degree, nice, beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, closer to what it is today.
Yeah.
We're finally out of the heat of the summertime. But yeah, that song, and you'll see when you listen back to our cut of it here, we decided to add in a little quote, a little homage to one of the greatest bands of all time, AC/DC.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first concert ever, was AC/DC. Changed my life, man. Changed my life completely because my dad introduced me to AC/DC when I was a kid, and Angus Young inspired me to pick up the guitar. And man, hearing Thunderstruck, Giant Stadium in the Meadowlands, life-changing, man. I was like, that is what I want to do.
Fuck yeah.
And it's interesting going through the whole period of thinking that's what I am put here to do. That's what I want to do with my life. And it's possible because people are doing it. And then coming to find other loves like film acting and movies. Like ever since I was a little kid, loved movies.
Creative expression.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like one movie, I would ask my parents, like, what was I like when I was like 3 years old? And my mom and dad would tell me that I would put on one movie, Muppet Treasure Island. And I would have this massive, oversized pirate hat. I would put that shit on. And I'd have a plastic sword, and I'd be jumping around the couch, singing to these songs. So it was sort of maybe like a hidden gem in my subconscious. Like I've always loved movies, but it wasn't until a fellow musician here in town was studying at an acting studio. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm going to go check that out. Go and check it out, and I find out that I absolutely love it, and it's super fun and another way of expressing myself that I didn't anticipate how it would inform making music and how the two can be so complementary to one another. I mean, you understand that. You have scored films before, so you understand that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like being able to have that as another form of creative expression, because I really feel like what I do musically, I mean, I have songs where, I've written vocals and like sing on them and shit, but that's just not really the path that I see myself going down, at least right now. Things could change, but
how do you know? How do you know that that's not the path you're going down? What is the thing that leads you to think that?
I think it's just about what speaks to you.
Mm-hmm.
And mainly for me, like mostly like when I'm playing on my own and doing my own thing, I want to be playing with a band and I want to be a bass player. And it's like you can sing and play bass, but it's just not something like to be the most effective bass player that I can be. If I have to sacrifice something, I would rather be a really great bass player than an okay bass player and singer.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
Like, so going down a path, I knew that was doing my own band, and I'll release stuff where I'm singing on it, but it's just like, as far as going out and performing it, I don't know. Maybe it's something that I do eventually, but I want to be like shredding with a band.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I really like doing.
Sure.
And plus, like a lot of the stuff that I write, it's just symphonic. Bass isn't the main focus. There might be like a cool bass part or groove or something like that, but it's not going to be like Victor Wooten or something like that. It's going to be like the guitars are going to have a cool part. The drums are going to have a cool part. The fucking keys are going to have a cool part. Hopefully we get to the point where we have a full horn section. That's really where I want to live.
I love a good horn section.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, my gosh.
It's so fucking fun to play in a band with a horn section. But, like, when I was musically coming of age, I was 17 playing with this guy, Matt Fogg in Maine. And the band, he had a music school, and there were these ensembles in the music school. And they would have, like, 4 keyboard players, 2 guitar players, 2 drummers.
On stage at one time.
Yeah. But it would be like the drums, they would switch off. One would do percussion, one would do drums. And they would switch off every other song.
Mm-hmm.
So I got used to being in a big ensemble like that, horn players, all that shit. And that is musically where I gravitate towards, is like a bigger ensemble. But either that or straight up 4-piece, drums, bass, guitar, keys, Booker T and the MG style.
Oh, yeah.
Meter style, like that's the stuff that I always go back to as far as a player goes. Like, I want something funky, I want something rhythmic and expressive. It has, I want to make music, gunfight music. That's what I always call it. It's like gunfight music in a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, people are getting shot at, there's snappy dialogue, heads are getting blown off, that kind of shit is what really appeals to me. I have a song that I might release soon called Deception Pass that I recorded over
Deception Pass.
I recorded over at Blackbird a couple of years ago, and that was one that I actually sang on. It's more of like an Iggy Pop, Nirvana kind of a thing. But like the kinds of songs I write too, I don't write pop lyrics at all. Like, this song is about people getting cut open in half and just fucked up shit, like, I wrote it the day that Rush Limbaugh died. So that sticks out. Like, Rush Limbaugh had this line whenever he would take callers that he was tying his brain behind his back. And the lyrics for the chorus are, tie my brain behind my back, start growing dope, get my life on track, which is Trailer Park Boys. Like, Ricky always says, I got to start growing dope and getting my life back on track. So it's like I reference Rush Limbaugh, Trailer Park Boys, and this director, S. Craig Zoller, his movies.
S. Craig Zoller.
Have you ever seen any of his movies?
I don't know. What movies is
Bone Tomahawk.
I've seen Bone Tomahawk, yeah.
Great fucking movie, dude.
Is that
brutal?
Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell, yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Wilson. He also did Brawl in Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn.
Didn't see that one.
You would enjoy it, dude. It's Vince Vaughn in a serious acting role. And then he did his best movie, in my opinion, and my personal favorite, is Dragged Across Concrete. And it's a slow burn crime thriller. And that is Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson. Oh, great fucking movie, dude.
Dragged Across Concrete.
If you're looking to kill 3.5 hours...
It's a 3.5 hour slow burn.
It's a slow burn, dude.
What keeps you engaged for that
the
long?
The writing is so fucking good because he originally wrote it as a novel first. So, because he's a writer first. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, S. Craig Zoller, I hope he makes another movie. I don't know if he will, but the 3 movies he made and like wrote and directed, classics in my opinion. And in addition to that, he also did he wrote the reboot for Puppet Master, which is a horror movie from the 80s. Puppet Master was the #1 movie that scared me when I was a kid. It was basically this Nazi brought these...
An actual Nazi?
Yeah, in the movie. Okay. He brought these dolls to life that murder people. It's like a Nazi occult movie.
Crazy.
Yeah, very good. But yeah, strongly recommend that as well.
The Puppet Master.
Yeah.
That takes me sort of in the direction of like the meaning of the song Magnolia, because we were talking about that. I heard that the Rockefeller estate, J.D. Rockefeller, I think was the first one. Something that I read was that he subsidized like seed oils or something, or maybe not seed oils, but oil in general, to put that into the food so that they would make a ton of money. And I was like,
of course.
How insane is that? And meanwhile, people are getting all sorts of,
ailments.
We don't have to go down into the pit of hell over here about this, but all it takes is hearing one sort of thing like that, a total disregard for human well-being and
for profit.
And that, oh man, it's just, how can we get it so twisted? How can someone get it so twisted? And
Well,
that's
it's
the love of money, I guess.
yeah, it's I think human nature in a lot of ways. Like the thing that's been consistent throughout all of humanity. And I'm very optimistic when it comes to the individual, but human nature as a whole,
Same.
I have a very like jaded view of. But basically, human beings throughout time, the constants have been fuck, conquer, kill. You know, like that's what people do. It's they roll up somewhere and they say, I'm in charge now. But in our modern world, people are able to do it in a very safe way, hiding behind legislation.
A hands-off way.
Yeah,
Right.
where they don't have to roll up and chop someone's head off to take over, because money is really the thing that, unfortunately, decides most things in this aspect of life. But yeah.
I think that's one of the most misleading things about money is that I think it's what's misleading is the connection between a human being's well-being and how they're making their living. If they're making their living off of the suffering of other people, I feel like it's only a matter of time before that same suffering comes back to that individual
I agree with that.
because of the sense of guilt.
Well, I think the disregard, I don't think a lot of the people who make those decisions have a sense of guilt. I think the disregard for other people like that is truly, when I think of what's evil, that is something that I would say is evil.
The disregard.
Yeah. It's the not giving a fuck. And it's the being able to turn a blind eye, I think is truly sinister. And you like, and it happens on a micro and a macro level. And we all do it to a certain degree. Does it make us all evil? No, I don't think so. Sometimes it's about self-preservation. You know, if it's at 2 a.m. and a homeless person walks up to your car and knocks on the window, you're going to be on edge and you're going to have to, I mean, you grew up in the East Coast, you grew up in New Jersey, so you kind of get it. But like, you have to have your head on the swivel. And especially being downtown, dude.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
all sorts of shit that happens down there.
And I mean, not to get too preachy about it, but it's been interesting to find whenever I lean on the Lord, I guess you could say. I certainly say that's what I do, try to do. And I come across a homeless person who maybe is, a little sketchy. If I'm leading with, how you doing? You doing okay? Is there anything I could help you with? Without, of course, stretching myself too thin. It can really change a human being's demeanor. And I think that's something that's, we don't understand how much power we have to transform other people or situations based on just our overall demeanor of how we approach things. I mean, tying it back to music.
Truth is perception, dude.
Right. If we're playing a show and we're having a great time, we're leading with love. Oh yeah, all that love, baby. If we lead with that, then that has a transformative power to people. I mean, they could have in their mind, man, I'm gonna mug this motherfucker right here. I'm gonna take them for all they're worth. And then they come to find, oh, this person is asking me how I'm doing. Who knows the last time someone asked me how I'm doing? That can really have such a transformative power. And to see that time and time again feels like nothing short of a miracle. But I think tells something about the truth of our experience here on Earth. Like you have this podcast where you're able to shine a light on people doing things that they love for other people, and it's a mutual give and take. Then people appreciate you for what you're doing, and it goes around. It keeps going around.
I think that's a beautiful spot to end it. Where can people find you at?
They can find me everywhere at Ty Chase Creative, Ty Chase on Spotify and Apple Music. And thank you very much, brother.
Dude, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Keep on dreaming. See you next week.
She's much too drunk to drive away. She's the user, the human parasite. Was the user, using till my soul was out of sight.